Jawbone hung on the kitchen wall. Jawbone, he is very tall. Jawbone ring, Jawbone sing. Jawbone tell me everything. Walk Jawbone with a turkey too. Never mind that bugaboo. The lutestring blue, it will not do. I want a string to tie my shoe. A cotton string, it will not do. A cotton string will break in two. Walk Jawbone with a turkey too. Never mind that bugaboo. I was come from Tennessee, my horse got mar up to his knee. I whipped him till I see the blood, then he hauled me out of the mud. Walk Jawbone with a turkey too, never mind that bugaboo. There was a little man, he had a little horse, went to the river, couldn't get cross, fed my horse in a poplar trough.
The letter contained many health recommendations for him.
Indeed I did. The good doctor advised that I drink nothing but water. He seems to surmise that if I adhere to this water-only regimen, I shall soon come to my senses sufficiently that I would think it is neither an evil to me nor cruel to animals to eat their flesh. Here's my reply. Thanks for the advice on being temperate. I've broken my promise and am again intoxicated. Yours ever, Junius Brutus. Booth. Yeah, I wanted to get right to the point.
Very good, Booth. Permit me to introduce the Reverend James Freeman.
Hola. Reverend Clark, thank you for being so responsive and so attentive to a perfect stranger indeed.
Mr. Booth, it is hard to call you a perfect stranger, so great acting work precedes you, but it is a real pleasure to meet with you in person.
In my travels, I find it interesting to partake in the company of as many different types of people as possible. How do you find you like the American West?
I came here fresh from divinity school with magnificent ideas of the vast work to be done and only a vague notion of the way in which I would do it.
How's that work coming along?
I expected to be met with opposition and I found indifference. I expected infidelity and I found worldliness. Well, don't get me wrong, Mr. Booth, I keep company with a good group of Christian friends. They are from out east and brought their religion with them. On the real Western people, I find it hard to make an impression.
Louisville is a tough nut to crack. What say you, Thomas?
These people don't want a teacher. What they need is a fire breather.
True. A solid, meditative, carefully worded sermon holds little attraction to them. They're here to like sentiment, run into sentimentalism, plenty of illustration, and knock-down arguments.
And booze.
Those who are religious here appear to be bigots. Those who are not religious appear to care more for making money, for politics, for horse racing, for drinking, and for dueling, than for the subtle differences in common biblical translations.
I find that the temptations to drunkenness are too common and too powerful for the many weak beings here who construe the approval of a boisterous circle of intoxicated fools as the climax of everything desirable in their profession. Here, here.
Men may differ in their taste of the form of the cup in which they drink this wine of divine truth, but they all agree in their thirst for the same wine.
Leaving aside the cups of Christ, I have always been strongly attracted to rural life. The real Booth has a farm in Maryland, but the real Booth is not a farmer by half. But he endeavors. True, but the farm is more of a buffer.
A buffer from what, Mr. Booth?
Humanity.
But you make your living off of the adoring throng?
My life's great passion is the recitation of a few perfect lines. If I could speak these words on my farm before a swarm of bees, or a flight of butterflies, or an exultation of skylarks, I would receive the same enjoyment, but hardly the same compensation. True, and I do have an ever-growing family.
If a swarm of bees could pay the sum of $100 a night, the world would never again see the great and wonderful Booth.
I suspect I may retire back to my sea of tranquility in Maryland.
A toast to the coming financial savvy of bees.
Gentlemen, forgive me for bringing down the room, but I thought we might attend to the original matter that has brought me before you.
Surgeon.
I have tried, rather unsuccessfully, to see the mayor about obtaining a plot in the local graveyard.
A pity, but not a trouble at all, Reverend.
But we'll have to keep trying to get back to you.
Excellent, and thank you very much for your service so far, Reverend.
I believe the mayor must be out partaking in the local bird shoot.
No doubt, as an original Easterner, the mayor's trying to fit in with the bloody spectacles.
You do not approve.
I do not support any activity which encourages the suffering of animals. Reverend, please forgive me. You are my guest, and I have not offered you any refreshments. Would you care to take a glass of wine or a cigar? Please have a seat, Reverend.
Thank you, Mr. Booth, but I must decline both the wine and the cigar.
On a doctor's orders?
No, Mr. Rice. Presently, I do not require that type of stipulation. I prefer to offer any comfort or consultation that I can to Mr. Booth for his recent loss. Mr. Booth, I am at your services.
That generosity of spirit must be why I contacted you, Reverend. I have chosen wisely.
Was the passing of your friend sudden?
Very
Was he a relative?
distant. You sure you will not partake of this fine wine?
No, Mr. Booth, I'm fine.
Cruel drink. It's only fair to be vegetable. Let me try and entertain you in another way. Just before I dashed off my letter to the doctor, I was reading aloud for my friend Thomas here. Perhaps you would like to hear me read?
I certainly should.
What shall I read?
Whatever you would like to read, I should like to hear.
Then suppose I attempt Coleridge's Ancient Mariner. Have you time for it? It is long.
Yes, I should think so.
Booth. Must we use the same old parlor tricks on the good reverend here we use on the good rivermen up and down the Mississippi?
I don't follow.
The Booth pulls out the Ancient Mariner in every port, every tavern along America's great waterways. Upon hearing it, his own boisterous circle of intoxicated fools always rejoice at his triumph. The Booth could never give over his performance merely to a swarm of bees unless those bees could buzz in the king's English.
I should still like to hear you read something, Mr. Booth.
Perhaps my favorite part.
The end, Booth. Just read the end.
The end, then.
Farewell. But this I tell to thee, thou loving guest. He prayeth well who loveth well, both man and bird and beast. He prayeth best who loveth best, all things both great and small. The dear God who loveth us, he made and loveth us all.
The mariner, whose eye is bright, whose beard with age is hoar, is gone. And now the wedding guest turned to the bridegroom's door. He went like one that hath been stunned, and is of sense forlorn, a sadder and a wiser man. He rose the morrow.
Feel the dangerous jealousy of those drunken rivermen who have heard the full tale from you.
I am so very pleased that you enjoyed the reading. Did you take special note of the meaning of this passage?
How so?
In reference to the animals.
Man should love all creatures.
Precisely. Did you ever read Shelley's argument against the use of animal food at the end of Queen Mab?
Yes, I have read it.
Immortal upon earth, no longer now. He slays the lamb that looks him in the face and horribly devours his mangled flesh. which, still avenging nature's broken law, kindled all putrid humors in its frame, all evil passions, and all vain belief, hatred, despair, and loathing in his mind. The germs of misery, death, and crime.
Well done again, Mr. Booth. Shelley would be very pleased to hear the word spoken with such feelings.
But what do you think of the argument?
Ingenious, but not satisfactory.
To me it is satisfactory. I have long been convinced that it is wrong to take the life of an animal for our pleasure. I eat no animal food. There is my supper.
And his wine is the Booth's dessert.
Vegetarian diet is man's natural diet, and dietary perfection can bring about man's perfection.
Eating the lamb does not turn a man into a wolf, Mr. Booth.
You know the myth of Prometheus?
Yes. Prometheus stole fire from the heavens and gave it to man. He was punished by the gods by being chained to a rock where a vulture would eat his liver. Each night his liver would regrow and the vulture would die again.
Very good, Reverend. Prometheus gave fire to man so that man could put it to a culinary purpose. Just as Prometheus's liver was devoured by a vulture each night, so are man's vitals devoured by the vulture of disease. All of man's vices are arisen from the ruin of his healthful innocence.
So, Mr. Booth, you are reaching with these allegories and myths.
Man in his creation was endowed with the gift of perpetual youth. He was not the sickly, suffering creature you see now.
Life in Eden was very different than life after the fall.
I wish no living thing to suffer pain. As I have said earlier, I eat no animal food. Indeed, I think that the Bible favors this view. Have you a Bible with you? Psalms 140:14. He causeth the grass to grow for the cattle, and earth in the service of man, that he may bring forth food out of the earth. Psalms 145:9. The Lord is good to all, and his compassion comes over all things he has made. He satisfies the desire of every living thing. Isaiah 66:3. He who slaughters an ox is like him who kills a man.
Impressive, Mr. Booth. But after the deluge, God gave dominion of the animals to Noah. Genesis 9:2. And all the fishes of the sea into your hands are they delivered.
Oh, Lordy! Thank the Maker! I said I could not stomach root and bury the Lord!
That promise was a curse upon all, and despite that promise, God said in Genesis 9:17, "This is the token of the covenant which I have established between me and all flesh that is upon the earth."
Mr. Booth, you have an excellent command of the scripture.
I have always condemned the soulless mumbling of pastors who found reading such an onerous task.
The Booth can command any text known to God or man.
Ecclesiastes 3:19. For the fate of the sons of man and the fate of the beasts is the same. As one dies, so dies the other. They all have the same breath, and man has no advantage over the beasts, for all is vanity. All go to the same place. All are from dust, and all turn to dust again. But who knows whether the spirit of man goes upward and the spirit of beast goes down to the earth?
Mr. Booth, I'm very pleased to be discussing these matters with you, but I came here to perform the last rites of our church over the dead as you requested that I should. Perhaps it is time that we discuss that matter.
Very well.
Would you like to look upon the remains?
Yes. Is this some kind of hoax? Pray, what is the meaning of this?
Of what, sir?
Of this? You requested me to come here and perform the funeral rites of the dead, and you present to my astonished senses a bushel full of poor wild pigeons.
Luke 12:6, for are not 5 sparrows sold for 2 farthings, and yet not one of
They
them
are pigeons, Mr. Booth.
Yes, sir, are they not, Dick?
Very true, but they are not human. They have no soul.
How do you know, sir, that they have no soul?
I will not presume, Mr. Booth, that you have brought me here to insult me. And I hope that your friend will find a straight waistcoat for you as soon as possible.
Please! Please! Stay a moment. You do not have to perform any rites or rituals. Please, just stay.
I cannot help but feel a certain sympathy for your humanity, Mr. Booth. If you are insane, as many might surmise, your insanity is better than the cold, heartless sanity of most men.
You spoke of it. You have seen with your eyes what has befallen these poor creatures.
I have, Mr. Booth. All week, I have observed immense quantities of these pigeons flying over the city and roosting in its neighborhoods. They are for sale by this bushel on every street corner in Louisville.
As Jesus said in his Sermon on the Mount, look at the birds of the air. They neither sow nor reap nor gather in the barns, yet your heavenly Father feeds them.
The townsfolk are awash in a pigeon feast of their own.
Ectopistis migratorius.
Excuse me, Mr. Booth?
Ectopistis migratorius. That is what these birds are known as in the world of science. These are the wild pigeons, also known as passenger pigeons. They are the passengers of Earth. They have been fruitful and multiplied for many, many years. What right does man have to cut that journey short for a feast of flesh?
I'm afraid I cannot answer that for you, Mr. Booth.
But just disease, to luxury succeeds, and every death its own avenger breeds. The fiery passions from that blood began and turned on man a fiercer savage. Man!
Man's penchant for destruction cannot be ignored.
As far as I can tell, there is but one crucial distinction that separates us from the beasts.
Distinction be?
Man is far more savage.
Indeed.
Both man and beasts are passengers going round and round on the spinning oar. Yet we are the true savage passengers of Earth. Humanity's careless disregard for all life is unfathomable. And if unchecked, will lead to our demise.
War, famine, and pestilence aplenty, I see no rebuttal to your argument.
These things all come from man.
Yea, but what can be done?
The jawbone hung on the kitchen wall. Jawbone, he is very tall. Jawbone ring, jawbone sing. Jawbone tell me everything. Walks jawbone with a turkey too. Never mind that bugaboo. The loose string blue, it will not do. I want a string to tie my shoe. A cotton string, it will not do. A cotton string will break in two. Walks jawbone with a turkey too. Never mind that bugaboo. Zombies come from Tennessee. My horse got bar up to his knee. I whipped him till I see the blood. Then he hauled me out of the mud. Walked jawbone with the turkey too. Never mind that bugaboo. There was a little man, he had a little horse. Went to the river, couldn't get cross. Fed my horse in a poplar trough. Old cow died of the whooping cough. Walked jawbone with the turkey too. Never mind that bugaboo. The niggas at the South don't dress very well. They walk proud and try to come swell. In the a wink at him. Touch up a stone, hit him on the shin. That's the way we sucked him in. Walk jawbone